Yes,
The Business Daily.
Scary. This is the problem. We have so many things going on. I talk like, wait, on to the next, but go on, Eric.
So the Business Daily has a couple of stories. Housing levy defaulters face accounts and PIN freezes. Informal sector traders are targeted in KRA crackdown. I'll tell you a bit more about this shortly. There's a bodybuilder for buses called Labsing. Have you ever seen that? Labsing on trucks and buses.
Yes.
You see a body built by Labsing.
Yeah.
Right? Lab here being LABH and Sing being Sing with a H. Again, everything ends with a H. That company has collapsed under 1 billion shilling KCB loan. Kenya's oldest and one of the largest truck, coach and bus bodybuilders, LSHS, actually, that's how you see LSHS, right? Has been placed under administration of a 1 billion shilling bank debt. 1 billion shilling debt. Oldest and largest. I mean, I hope it survives because that's legacy. And when you hear oldest and largest, just know many people employed by this company. Many people who supply to this company. It's just not just a company, it's an ecosystem of those that supply to it and those that work there. Banks have posted 262 billion shillings pre-tax profit on expensive loans. Commercial banks set a new record pre-tax profit of 262.3 billion shillings in 2024, buoyed by high lending rates and income from government securities, according to new disclosures by the CBK. Can you imagine? Everybody else is suffering.
Banks are like, wow.
All those people who are suffering are taking money to the bank. Okay?
Yeah.
Banks are making profit, and the profit is growing. At your economy is tanking, we are not doing well, for banks. Money. And what is that? It's not because they're lending us.
No.
It's because they're lending the government.
Boom.
Okay? It's high income from the government securities and also high income from lending to us, our money.
Yeah. Lending it back to us. Yes. Lending it back to us.
Yeah.
So the CBK obviously a role to play there because they set the interest rate and they've been very strict, and that was a counter measure against inflation. At what point do they begin loosening their grip a little bit?
They have actually started. So there's something called the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank that meets regularly to review the macro and micros, and then they make monetary policy decisions. Last week they met and they lowered the central bank rate, right,
the first
by
time in
0.75%. Now they've been starting to lower.
Okay.
And so that there was that. The second big thing that they did, there's something called the cash reserve ratio. So the CBK says, as a commercial bank, this is how much money you have, this is how much money you should keep in reserve with the CBK. Okay? So they've lowered that. By lowering that, basically they've given the banks money to keep. And therefore, they're telling the banks, now lend that money to the people. So you see, the CBK is now saying, all right, so we are loosening that tight grip, lend that money to the people. The third big thing that they did is the CBK announced that they are going to be doing physical random checks at commercial banks to see that commercial banks are lowering the interest rates. We have lowered the base rate.
Okay.
You need to lower the rate. We have given you more cash to lend to people. You need to lower the rate and lend to people.
So a physical random check is like they go undercover.
They just come to a bank and say, okay, so let's see your loan book.
Oh,
yeah?
Okay.
What contracts do you have? These contracts, have you lowered the interest rate?
Okay.
And you'll be charged 1,000 shillings per day for every account that you have lent out that you have not lowered a rate.
I was just going to ask, what are the ramifications? Is there sort of like a staggered timeline for when all of this is supposed to happen? Have these?
And is 1,000 shillings a day
CBK,
any significant money for a bank?
You know, it's 1,000 per day per loan.
Per loan. Okay.
So this is Mariam and Eric and Janet. Those are three. Every day it's 3,000. Now, how many accounts do the banks have? So
it multiplies.
It's a big thing.
Sorry, Janet, I interrupted your question.
No, I was just going to ask what the timelines look like and when.
So for Central Bank, they have not said that we'll start coming at you next month. It is immediate. You see, when the CBR rate is lowered, it's effective immediately. Right? So if the CBR rate is effective immediately, it goes down, then you expect that within the next 1 month, your commercial bank tells you, all right, we have lowered the interest for your loan. Because when the CBR rate goes up, be sure that month the bank will tell you, by the way, CBK wamepandisha so hata wewe.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's banks actually, CBK saying, whenever we lower, we don't see you doing as fast as whenever we raise. So
can someone also speak to